was to feed the family, but it turned out to be a business. And so you find out, and I found out that it's not just for me. A lot of people have had the same experience. They did not intend starting a business, but then business started on its own. But you see, things can start accidentally or things can start supernaturally, but growth is not automatic. Growth requires effort, growth requires discipline, and growth requires decision. You must decide that you're going to grow, because if you do not, the natural obstacles that will come up will deter you, will confuse you, and will discourage you. And so you must have your mind set. And so the first thing I'm going to be talking about is your mind. You know, there must be a mindset of growth. There must be a mindset of increase. There must be a mindset of development. And so even before we begin to talk about our businesses, we need to talk about the business owner. And that is why, of course, we're talking about mindset. Because your business cannot grow beyond what you know. Your business cannot grow beyond the environment that you have surrounded yourself with. Now, when I talk about environment, of course, every one of us come from different backgrounds. But you see, when you begin to learn the principles of growth, you now begin to be deliberate about creating an enabling environment that will help your business grow. Remember what I said. I said you will now be deliberate about creating it, because if you just wait for an environment to be positive or to have a positive impact on your business, it might never come. And so you have to be deliberate in bringing to bear things that will help you grow. They include your relationships. They include the knowledge that is available to you. Knowledge can come as you walk, as you go on in your business, but you see, you have to move to a point where you are deliberate in seeking for knowledge. So let me not jump the gun. Like I said, I'm talking about your mindset. Now, when I started, I had little or no knowledge about business. I didn't plan it. I found myself right in the middle of it. All I knew was that 1,000 Naira had become 5,000 Naira. I mean, I didn't have to go to business school to know that that was a breakthrough. I didn't have to go to business school to know that, hey, something is happening here. And so I began to look at it. Initially, of course, I thought, oh, okay, I was excited at 1,000, I thought 5,000, I thought 10,000. But then I knew all of these things were happening, but I could not really trace where all these monies were going to, okay? So I now had to shift my mindset, because the initial excitement was money is coming in. You know how it is. Money comes in. And, you know, the first thing, of course, as a woman who had gone through all sorts of seasons, yes, I had worked for 20 years. Yes, I had earned an income. But, you know, it's just different when you begin to do things with your hands and you find out that, oh, you're able to multiply as you do things with your hands. So I was excited and I felt like, oh, wow, yes, then I have arrived. I really don't need that, you know, that 9 to 5 job to, you know, to be able to make a living. And so I began to spend as I wanted to, forgetting that it's not the same thing as it was when I was working. And so the first hard lesson that I had to learn was that I needed to be disciplined. I needed to have a pattern that would help me track how my business was growing. Remember that it was just a 1,000 Naira startup that was all about moin-moin. You know, I began to read about business owners. I began to listen to business owners talk and share their experiences. Initially, I didn't pay particular attention to their growth because I just felt it's just moin-moin. I didn't even think it will grow. I just felt, I was just excited. So, but I found out that, look, that initial excitement could not sustain me. So no matter how excited you are about your business, excitement can never, ever sustain a business. Excitement will just cause a stir. But what will sustain that stir, and not just to sustain the stir, what will make that stir move into a whirlwind that will now cause you to be a strong entity to be reckoned with, is the structure you put into your business. And so I found out that, look, yes, 1,000 is moving to 5,000, 5,000 is moving to 10,000, but hey, you're not tracking anything. I mean, there are times I would just go broke at the end of the day and I'm having to struggle again and again. And I'm wondering how many more boxes of moin-moin would I sell, And of course, I really started rock bottom. I started rock bottom. I would, yes, family and friends were the people I started with, but, moving. So let me talk a bit about that movement. I spoke about mindset. So the initial move was just to sell to family and friends. But when I saw that it was growing, my mind began to change. If your mind does not change, then you cannot see a reason to step out of your comfort zone. Because initially selling to family and friends was really a comfort zone to me. But because I began to have a mind shift, my mind began to change. I began to see that, look, this business can actually grow beyond where it is. I began to see that if I put more effort, if I put the principles that I was reading, I was learning from other people's businesses into mine, then it would produce results. And I found out that it truly did. Principles always produce results. Remember, principles always produce results. And so I began to push beyond my comfort zone. And so that mindset, change of mindset from your comfortable zone, from sometimes it's complacency, sometimes it's, just being satisfied with where you are. But that change of mindset, what that change of mindset does is that it pushes you a little further. It pushes you from the shore. And what it requires is a lot of courage. And so for everybody, depending on the type of business you're running, for somebody, you could be running a multi-million business. You didn't start with 1,000 Naira. But the truth is that wherever you have started from, for your business to continue to grow, you need to push a little further. And so you have to look at your environment. I look at my environment. And one of the things I've learned in business, and it has been a principle that I have seen work all through this 14 years, is that what I need for my next level is always around me. Okay? So I've seen people who struggle and they go, they cast their net so wide and abandon and ignore the opportunities around them. I've seen them lose a lot of mileage because they have not, followed, particular steps, particular principles. If you jump the gun, even if it looks as if you have succeeded, it will be there waiting for you, because it's like building blocks. They're building blocks that need to follow a particular pattern. And so when you think that you can skip a particular block and just put a huge block on that small block, at the end of the day, you find out that you have a faulty foundation. And so one of the things, yes, we encourage ourselves to aspire for greater heights. Yes, it's important to aspire for greater heights, but there's some basic rudiments that you must put into consideration. And these are the things that have helped me greatly. They've helped me. I failed so many times, but I found out that these failures are also part of those blocks. So those blocks are not just blocks to move you forward, they're also blocks for you to learn, so that as you go on, you know what to avoid. And so my mind began to change, and then the mindset changing moved me from family and friends to going into an unknown territory. But that unknown territory was also within my reach. It was just that I needed to just take that bold step. And so in our different businesses, if we stay complacent, we stay with that one customer, we stay with those 10 customers, or we now have 100 customers. If you just are satisfied with those 100 customers, let me tell you something. A new kid will arise. And I'm a Christian. And I lead a lot of Christian women in business. And one of the things I found out about a lot of Christian business owners is that, we begin to delve into spiritual matters, which is good, but at the depth, we are not practical. We're practicing principles. We begin to want the supernatural to happen. Do you get what I'm saying? So, in other words, what we're saying is that if you do not continue to make moves to grow your business, to grow your customer base, that new person that comes on the block what you know what that person will do? That person will begin to eat into that which you call your own customer base. Okay, because customers always move, and there's nothing wrong with it. I look at myself and I'm like, for all these years, have I patronized the same person on concerning a particular commodity? No. I'm always changing. Why? Because the taste of the customer always changes. And that is why it is important to continue to be innovative and creative. And so from the point of changing of your mindset being shifted, you know that look, for your business to continue to grow, there must be deliberate moves to ensuring that you're self-improving, self-innovative, and self-aspiring. Once that is in place, now you have to hit the ground running. Now, of course, there'll be different obstacles from moving from one level to the other. But you see, you must be prepared for the negative side of business, and you must be strong. And so in all of these years, from family and friends, I began to sell to people I didn't even know. From selling to people like individuals I didn't even know. And I began to trade with other businesses. And you find out that as your customer base changes, there are different approaches that you need to have to them. Not only do you have to have different approaches to them, there are different ways you now need to package and present your business. Your business begins to evolve. Your business evolves with time. Because look at COVID, for example. COVID has happened. A lot of business have gone down. Now, a lot of business are still standing. But we that are standing know that the way we're doing business now is not the way we used to do business then. And so we begin to find ways and means of changing our businesses to adapt to the customer's desires. We say that some of us get upset as business owners when customers are critical, when customers are full of complaints, when it appears as if customers ask for too much. But these are things that we need to take into consideration even as we present our businesses the way that will be appealing to these customers, not just to these customers, to a new set of clientele. Okay, so from the point of changing of a mind rejig to the point of moving out of your comfort zone, to the point of now beginning to attract different customers. Now you need to look at your business model. I've had to look at my business model over and over again. Of course, they say to you, write a business plan. The business plan has been written. That plan that we wrote 14 years ago is not the same plan we're working with. Why? Because things happen, because things change, because opportunities come. And when those opportunities come, if you're not in a position to take advantage of those opportunities, then you miss out on them. Not only do you miss out on them, what happens also is that you are not able to maximize the different channels that will be open up to you. So all of this have helped us in terms of the different relationships we have formed. Different relationships we have formed have helped us to expand in different ways. Now, I want to take, for example, when we had to expand our business to Abuja. Abuja came, it was all part of the mindset changing that, you're looking at other people's different business models. And this has to be handled with care, because we're not saying you're competing with somebody, you're competing with yourself, you're competing with the best of you yesterday so that you can move to the next level. And so you look at your business and you look at what your business has to offer. And then you're beginning to look at other areas where you can expand to where that business you run or where that business you run is needed. Now, we took the step as we began to look at the business and say, oh, we've done this, we've done that. We've moved to selling to family and friends, to selling to business owners. Now we moved to opening a restaurant. Okay, I have 45 minutes, so it will be difficult to say all that has happened in 14 years in 45 minutes, but as much as I can, I will try to capture what will be needed for this meeting. So we moved to owning a restaurant. So the restaurant started, And of course, there's no way you can talk about business growth without finance. So I've not forgotten that, because a lot of business owners talk about their lack of access to capital, access to funds for expansion and growth. And this is real. But you see, it has to be managed in such a way that you're not totally reliant. You're not relying on that funds that you need to grow your business. I found out that there's so many ways you can grow your business with other people's funds. Apart from you being able to sell, to take advantage of opportunities with suppliers, buy on credit and all of that, you're also able to use other people's platform. And I'm not saying that in a way that will be like you are taking undue advantage of people, but it all comes from the position of partnerships. So that is why it is important, as much as other people running the type of business you run are really competitors, you're not looking at them as competition in a vicious manner that, hey, if you don't get this business, if I don't get this business, and you get this business, then it's war. We're on a war path. No. Growth also comes as a result of partnerships. And so a lot of opportunities that have come my way is as a result of the partnerships that I've been able to enter into. And these partnerships have helped a great deal. So, now we've grown into a full-scale company. It's full-scale catering company. But remember, we started with moin-moin. And so we were beginning to ask ourselves, how are we going to be able to penetrate? When I began to look at the business, at the position the business was at that time. Okay, so, and I began to see, there are opportunities in outdoor catering. How do I penetrate? Do I want to begin to start, marketing from the base? I didn't want to do that. And so I began to sell my product to existing caterers. Okay, so, and it also, of course, it also required me making them know why I was needed. So I needed to design the moin-moin. So we're talking about this moin-moin everybody eats, this simple moin-moin. So it's a basic business product that, you can just look at and you can say to yourself that, if this can be presented in such a way that is attractive to people who are also still in the same industry, you can see that your own business, whatever you're doing, can also be presented to people in your own business who have gone higher, who have a higher mileage, who have a larger mileage than you, in such a way that they'll be willing to invite you. At the end of the day, you're probably not even looking at like a threat to them. And that was exactly what happened. And so we began to we began to network with caterers and say, so we can actually give you have a catering job. We can actually supply moin-moin to you, because we know the stress that you go through to produce moin-moin. And almost everybody we spoke to bought into it. Oh, yes. Oh, the stress of washing beans, of wrapping moin-moin, and all of that. Okay, so I'm catering for 300 guests. Can you supply 100 wraps of moin-moin? Can you supply 200 wraps of moin-moin? That's how we started. That's how we started penetrating into outdoor catering business. And of course, opportunities began to come. That, okay, so madam, you've been able to supply us with 100 wraps of moin-moin for this catering job. Can you do more? Okay, so you see, all these partnerships at the end of the day are able to help you to take your business to the next level without having to go through some rigorous process that you would have gone through, because you want to be able to penetrate into the market. So we've been able to go this way because we've been able to grow over the years because we've been able to take advantage of different relationships. I was talking about Abuja. So before we moved to Abuja, we opened a branch because we were just able to get a property, rent an accommodation that was not on the main road. And we all have to be careful about this. In the bid to grow our businesses, we must be careful not to shoot ourselves in the leg. Like, you access a loan because you want to get a property in a highbrow area. Now you access that loan. That loan is given to you, and then it becomes a problem to repay. And maybe you repay with everything that you have, your profit and everything. You finish repaying, and then you're stuck. Oh yes. We had such an experience, and I would like to share that experience because it's important. Okay, so we got a loan at some point, and At that point, we were running we're running a service to a school, and we presented our papers, we presented our figures, and we looked at very excited. I forgot entirely that hey, school was going to go on vacation. School was going to go on vacation for almost 3 months, and there was going to be no income. Oh my goodness. Every income we're making within that time was going into funding that loan because we could not afford to default in repaying that loan. It affected the business in no small ways. Staff salaries were affected. In fact, we had to sell off some properties to be able to cope in such hard times. And so taking a loan is beautiful, but you see, you have to really be very, very calculative to the T in taking this loan so that it doesn't affect your operations. Operations were almost affected if it hadn't been for family and friends again that came to the rescue. And so taking a loan should be, the mindset and the thought pattern should be really long-term. You're thinking long-term in the sense that, are we able to survive paying back this loan? And one has to be careful because there are all sorts of loans, and there are all sorts of loans. There's loans that, if you're not careful, they're very, very enticing. But if you're not careful, they will really, really run you out of business. And so one of the principles, running a business requires a lot of risks. But you see, your risk should be very, very calculated. So all this growth, all these steps that we have taken, when we had that experience with that loan we had to pay back, taught a huge lesson. And that was a block that we needed and has been of key importance, and has been a key learning curve for me, key learning points, even as we have gone on. God moved on. Moved on. Before I take a loan, when the need arises or when the opportunity presents itself, I'd have learned that it's not every opportunity that is for me. I've learned that there's some fantastic opportunities that at the end of the day will cause a lot of pain and a lot of hardship. And so in all of this, we've been able to scale, position ourselves in a way that is attractive, and be audacious in taking bold steps in presenting ourselves, and also to be able to think ahead of time. You must be able to forecast. So this is where we are now. Where do we want to be in 2 years? Where do we want to be in 3 years? Where do we want to be in 5 years? These are thoughts that have to consistently, be in our hearts. And we have to also learn to be able to unburden to the people who are working with us. Because, you can't run your business yourself. Yes, thank God, yes, this business started with me, but it's beyond me now. Because one of the things that we all know now, that the new goal is knowledge. So all of this that you have experienced all these years are the things that will turn you into a wealth of assets to people. All of these experiences at the end of the day will be assets to you, because you begin to teach people, you begin to mentor people, and they'll begin to bring in residual income to you. Look at COVID. COVID happened and a lot of us could not run businesses, but a lot of things were happening online. And I tell you, there was so much income coming in for me. And this income came because of all the knowledge that I had acquired. People were calling, can you speak here? Can you come here online? Can you do this? And of course, it was at a fee. And so no lesson that you're going through today is wasted. It's a lesson that will accumulate to you at the end of the day. But you see, it is personal development. I don't know how many more minutes I have. Personal development now becomes very, very critical. As you're looking at your business, you're looking at yourself. Because one of the things that I know that we are moving to in our continent is that we want to build businesses that outlive us. We have examples. We have great examples. Look at examples like, one of the women that I admire so much is Tara Fela Brotoye. She's a woman who has, her business is, right in her lifetime, is outliving her. You see how many people her business has empowered. So the likes of her are people that are people where a lot of us are looking at that, and we're saying that our businesses should outlive us. So it goes beyond me running. It has gone beyond me running a catering business to me empowering people, and to me selling the wealth of knowledge that I've been able to acquire. And so so moving to Abuja at that point became very, 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 very critical. Let me tell you why it became critical at that time. At that time, remember when a lot of civil servants were moved to Abuja, a lot of parastatals moved to Abuja, a lot of our clients in Lagos were moved. And there were opportunities coming, a lot of opportunities coming that, oh, if you could come, yes, we could take up your business, could be running the catering, could be taking care of our catering needs and all of that. And we took the bold step. We moved to Abuja. One of the things I said was that moving to Abuja was not going to be on a loan. I'm not going to take a loan. I'm not going to take any facility. I'm going to use my money, whatever we have made, to move to Abuja. And we did move to Abuja. We moved to Abuja. We're in Abuja for 2 years. The first year was great. The second year was looking good when we started, but something happened. And it's important for me to say this, because something will happen. Something does happen every time. Every one of us have had different experiences in business. What holds you at the end of the day? Yes, I said I'm not talking so much about the supernatural today, but you see, the supernatural actually holds you. But even with the supernatural, or without the supernatural, but for me, it's been with the supernatural. You see, the principles have held. Okay, so the principles of relationships, the principles of self-development, the principles of, having a vision. Now that I don't want to go into the issues we had in Abuja that made us shut down Abuja and come back to Lagos. But thank God, we didn't shut down Abuja at a loss. We shut down Abuja. We recovered our monies. A lot of investments we had made in Abuja. We made those investments. I actually made those investments with the mind of, this property I have acquired does not belong to me. And so every fixture, every furniture, every equipment that we buy, whatever we put in place, as much as possible, we put all of those things in place with the mindset that if we have to move, of course, I didn't plan to shut down Abuja, but I was like, if we had to move from this property to another property, all of this could be moved. And thank God for those decisions. Those decisions helped. Those ones we couldn't move. Yeah, of course, when you have used a particular equipment, you can't sell it at the amount you had. Depreciation has set in. You can't sell at the amount you bought them. But I tell you, there was little or no regret. Of course, the only pain I had was that, oh, I wish we were still in Abuja. But when Abuja closed down, we came back to Lagos bigger and stronger. And I'm going to be rounding off because I know my time is almost up. We came back to Lagos bigger and stronger. Now, when we came back to Lagos, we had to take a very, very crucial decision. And this is what I'm rounding off with. We had in Lagos Bagada office, and we had in Lagos Ikoyi office. At that time, Ikoyi office, the rent in Ikoyi office had been increased. And the space in the Ikoyi office was like a quarter of what we're using in Bagada. Now, at the same time, Bagada office, the space we're using, two of us were using the business premises in Bagada office. The second person moved out, and we're given the option of taking the whole property. Now, if I had paid, so I had the option of taking the whole property in Bagada, or renew or staying as allowing someone else come in Bagada. So two of us are still occupying that property, or paying up the rent, the renew rent in Ikoyi. The first thing that came to my mind, let me not lie. The fact that we're in Ikoyi was really a buzz. I was excited, big girl in Ikoyi, everybody was like, wow, you're in Ikoyi. It was a hype, and I was enjoying it. I was really, really enjoying it. Like, oh, girl, you've gone to Ikoyi. That's a big girl. That's a big move. That's an audacious move. And I was like, enjoying it. And so the first thought that came to my mind was like, yeah, I've closed Abuja. How do I close Ikoyi? What would people say? Hello, people, let me tell you something. If there's anything killing businesses today that make business owners not stick to the vision of their businesses, is what will people say? I have been long delivered from what will people say. I looked at it critically. I looked at the vision of the business. Where are we going? What do we want? We want to grow. Are there opportunities for growth if I take this decision? And I found out that, look, If you take this Bagada decision, this Bagada premises, and you're the sole occupant in this Bagada premises, do you know what you can do in Bagada? Compared to increasing the rent, that cubicle-like place in Ikoyi, and it's not bringing, I couldn't expand in Ikoyi. It was just a cubicle. In fact, even the little place we had was becoming so uncomfortable. It was so chaotic. You know how it is cooking in a small place, people coming in, it didn't make sense anymore. And so I said, no, you know what? I don't care what anybody says. And I'm not going to go around explaining to anybody. Yes, we're moving out of Ikoyi, we're staying in Bagada. And of course, we stayed in Bagada. We took up the whole premises. And today, I think that happened like 5 years ago. Today, we've remodeled Bagada office. And Bagada office is ours. Yes, it hasn't become ours physically, but I know it's ours. Do you understand? Why? Because we stuck to the vision. We didn't allow emotions take over us. It did not become a matter of what will people say, how will people perceive us. It became reality. I'm real to the hunger for growth. I'm real to the hunger for sustainability of this business. I'm real to the hunger of this business must outlive me. This business must grow. I'm real to the hunger of I don't want to go around owing debt, owing people. I don't want to go around begging people. I want to grow. I want to grow. I want my growth pattern to follow principles. Have we accessed loans and opportunities like that? Oh, yes. And by the special grace of God, we've been paying back. And we've been seeing the results of the loans we have taken. And you know what? Our creditors are ready to invest in us. We've had people who've looked at us and said, we see you grow. Some people have said to us, you know what? We want to invest in your business. We're investing this amount in your business. We're not taking anything back. Just this. Can we agree? Can we agree on what we're going to do, on how you're going to repay whatever we invest, how we're going to recoup our money? Because we see your track record. What track record do you have? You must have a track record that is authentic. You must have a track record that is authentic, and that is what we pursue for. We're pursuing after authenticity, we're pursuing after growth, we're pursuing after personal development, and we're pursuing after longevity. We want to see our business birth more. I want to become an inspiration to others. And so you know what? Finally, my final words, it's not just about us. And that's what I have seen happen in developed countries. You see business owners deny themselves of a lot of things. Why? Because they want their businesses to be sustainable. They're evolving every day. They're creative. And so now it's not just it's a full catering outfit, not just a full catering outfit. Now we have new products. We have new products that we ourselves have developed. We've trademarked those products, you know, because we know that now we're forced to reckon with, and people. We now have moin-moin has given birth to Moinza. Moinza has given birth to moin-witch. Moin-witch has given birth to moin-bug. Moin-bug has given birth to moin-rap. It's just creative. And let me tell you something. You know, the truth is that the margins are beautiful. And when people see you evolve, when people see the passion with which you're running your business, it opens you up to opportunities. Now an international market is waiting for us. And we're ready to fly. And so I'm going to be wrapping up here. Let me just recap for the different things I've spoken about. You must have a vision. You must have a vision. You're blessed to be the visionary of your business. So you must have a vision. And so you see, it's important. It's important to see what people are doing, but don't let them distract you. Don't let competition distract you. Let competition enhance what you're doing. Okay, look out for partnerships. Partnerships will help you grow. It will help beautify your business. Look for ways to continue to evolve. What else can I do? How can I make my business relevant to the times we're in today? Don't look down on your business. No matter how small the business is, it can grow. But you see, it can only grow when there's life. And so ensure you're injecting life into your business. How do you inject life? You're investing in your business. And so as you make money, as you're attractive to customers, they're coming to you, be mindful of plowing back into the business. Continue to look at your business. You know, my people say something, Yoruba say something, "Owo lafin wowo." Okay, so you're investing in your business because you want to be able to attract more, you want to do more. And so also we're talking about personal development. Develop yourself. Apart from the business, your business is a different entity. Ayodeji Megbope is different. No Leftovers is different. I've come to terms with that. And so I've seen myself, No Leftovers is not just about me. No Leftovers is about everybody that is around, my customers, my workers, everybody. But you see, Ayodeji Megbope must self-develop. And it's my self-development that will help my business grow. It is my self-development that will determine who I attract. Okay? And so be dissatisfied with where you are. Take calculative risks. Yes, don't be afraid to take those risks, but please make sure you don't take risks that will overwhelm you. Make sure that you're always on top of your game. The picture is always in front of you. You're looking at the picture every day and you're saying to yourself, how am I going to move it to the next level? So I hope I've been able to inspire somebody and help somebody today. So Mr. Cheye, I hand over to you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Ma, for the all right, Ma. That's very insightful session, and I'm sure everyone. So now, please, we'd like to take the question and answer session, please.
Okay, maybe before we jump into question and answer, I cannot resist the urge to just say a very big thank you to Mrs. Megbope. This is really practical, and I thank you for sharing from your heart. It's not like sharing something from theories and what have you. It's things you've experienced that you have really shared with us, and I'm sure everybody is excited. They are quite happy, and they have things to take away. I mean, my note is full. You talked about investments and personal development, not being satisfied with where you are. Take calculative risks. Don't be afraid to go back when you realize you made mistakes. And the fear of what will people say should never be the reason for your decision whenever. I mean, at any particular time. We're so excited that you honored our invitation. I remember in July when Toyi spoke here, and something just whispered to me, let's ask Mrs. Megbope if she's going to come. And it was quite simple. I just asked you, will you be willing to be a part of this? And you said yes on the spot. And there's been no drama trying to get you to do this. Thank you so very much for obliging us. I know you're quite busy. We're so appreciative of this. We say God bless you. So right now, let's just take a few questions, probably 1, 2, or 3, and then we'll call it a day. If anyone has any question, you could type it in the chat box. I will enable us to speak now. I know that was disabled before. It was just to avoid background noise. So right now, you can actually speak. So Bishop Welts, please go ahead.
Please unmute yourself, everyone. And thank you so much for this. This is so inspiring. It's so powerful. Thank you so much. My question is, Ma, if you are to walk this path all over again, what would you do differently? That's just my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Bishop Wells. Oh, wow. That's a very, very interesting question. Okay. So what will I do differently? To start with, I would have taken the business very seriously from day one. Okay. So I took it seriously to some extent, but I know that if I had taken it more seriously, I would have gone far. Also, I would have been very serious about personal development. You know, my business started in a very supernatural way. And so I was gliding on the wave of the supernatural, which is great. But I found out later that I had a responsibility to grow this business. I had a crucial responsibility. I would have taken it up head on. Yes, you know, I did. I mean, personal development for me started from the 6th month of the business. But I know that some opportunities I would have taken more advantage of. But even much more than that, let me tell you one thing I would have done very differently. I would have taken advantage of all my relationships. There were relationships I was so afraid to take advantage of. There are times I look at some pictures and I'm like, oh my God, if I had done this at that time. I've met great people who have asked me, what do you want? And I've just been like, I've been afraid. I was afraid to tell them what I wanted. Imagine me when I went to New York. I was invited for I didn't talk about all of that. I was invited for the Clinton Global Initiative. And I met President Obasanjo at that meeting. I had been introduced, and then he came to me. He said, oh, Omo Yoruba. Hey, I just greeted him. I was so afraid. I was shaking. Hey, what if I had taken advantage of that opportunity? Of course, I wasn't going to ask him for money or anything. His card would have done, I could have, let me see you here. Can I come and see you? I didn't. I was afraid. I was on another trip. I was invited by the president of Turkey. And on my way back, I flew first class and I met this man on the plane. He was Ghanaian. And he told me that, are you interested in doing business in Ghana? I was afraid. Even though I said I was going to go to Ghana, I was really afraid to press. What if I had pressed? So, those are the things I would have done differently. I would have taken more advantage of the different relationships that I made along the way. But thank God for where I am, but that's what I would have. Those are the things I would have done differently.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you for that question, Bishop. Well, now I have God first. So you can unmute yourself and ask your question. God first. God first, are you still there? Please ask your question. Seems he's not there. Oluwayemisi. I have Oluwayemisi.
Okay. All right. Good evening.
Thank you so much, man. Please,
good evening.
can you? Yes, I'm there. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oluwayemi Samuel.
Okay, Oluwayemi, we can hear you.
All right. So, Mom, I would like to ask that how do you handle pressure? Like as an entrepreneur, you're trying to handle a lot of things at the same time, trying to organize this, organize that, and you have a lot of things also that you're doing and trying to. How do you manage all that? How do you make sure you're keeping track of some things that you're trying to do at some point in time, that you don't get overwhelmed and you don't get distracted trying to do this and do that? And I hope you understand what I just said.
Absolutely. And I love your question. Thank you so much. You see, my support system is very important. As a woman, I started my business 14 years ago. I was going to be 40 at that time. My support system is always very important to me. My husband being number one, and he's been my cheerleader. And you see, I want to say something here, because I know each time I talk to women, a lot of them say to me, but my husband is not supportive. Okay, so, and I say to them, build a support system, build it. Even with my husband being amazingly supportive, I am deliberate in building my relationship, continuing to build. I've been married for 28 years. I am deliberate in continuing to build this relationship with my husband. I don't take him for granted. So I don't take my support system for granted. My children have become part of my support system. Even though they are old, they're grown now. My friends, I have close friends who sometimes I want to fall out with, but then I remember that I can't do this all alone. I remember my staff. So I'm a woman of so many parts. My oldest staff left, two of my oldest staff left a few months ago. The first one had worked with me for about 9 years. The second one for over 10 years. They were crucial. There were times I would be out of this country and I would invest in them. I would invest in their children. I would invest in their marriage. I'm deliberate about asking about their welfare, because I know that that's the only way I can buy their loyalty. I can't buy their loyalty 100%. Of course, there's no knowing of any man, but I am deliberate in doing my best. Not just that, my environment, my neighbors. Something happened today. A woman had an accident, and I've never spoken to her, but I know her. She's my neighbor. And I was deliberate in invest. I just said to her, madam, I looked at what happened to her and her car. I looked at what happened to the other person's car. I said, you know what, madam, I'm going to pay for this. I'm going to pay for that. I tell you, I have a lot of financial needs, but somehow I saw this woman as an opportunity to let her. I've never spoken to her. She owns her business is down the road. And I just said, oh, this is an opportunity to network with this woman. And that's how I've been. Look at people. I'm not looking for what I can get from them. I'm putting my best foot forward. Do you understand? I'm seeing how I can help them. At the end of the day, I just see people. So when I know I need help, people just rise up. The law of sowing and reaping. So I'm sowing into people's lives. And I say that when I need help, people rise up. They just want to help me. So these are the ways I've been able to build the support system. I'm deliberate. I juggle a lot of balls. But listen, all those balls are not delicate. The most delicate ball of my life, of course, my relationship with God, my marriage. My marriage is so important and dear to my heart. My children are delicate to me. And then the list goes on and on. So when there is a shaking, because shakings will come, my business is not as important as my marriage. And so if I have to drop the ball of business for a while, and that's why I need to have that team, because there are times when I've had to drop the ball of business and I said, you know what, this business is not as important as my marriage. I'm attending to my husband in this season. Okay, so I'm looking at all those balls I juggle, and I prioritize which one is most important. I prioritize them. Which one do I have to focus on at this time? So that when it's now time for me to focus on my business, my husband is not complaining because he knows me. He knows how I've invested in this marriage. And so when he knows, there are times when every morning my husband gets to work, he calls me. So when I don't call, when we are unable to talk, he knows that you must be busy. So he knows that I'm 100% loyal to him. So when I'm not there, he understands that something serious must be going on with this girl. I hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ma. So I think God first will be going now, although I have seen his question in the chat section. I don't know, is it still the same question, God first?
Yes, the same question.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you. I'll just read it out. So God first is asking, and his question says, how were you able to convince family and friends to invest in your business?
So, yeah. Of course, now there are times when we want to form that we don't need help. When it comes to family and friends, there's no forming. And of course, you're not just going to anybody. You're real to the situation of things. Now, you're not, one of the things that is critical is you're not going to beg. So what's the value you're offering there? I offered value. I offered moin-moin. What are you doing first? Let me tell you something. Something happened today. I met a guy who was, I spoke about an accident, and I looked at this guy whose vehicle had been affected. He was calm. He was not crazy like the normal, typical Lagos driver. He was so sympathetic to the plight of the woman who hit his car. Somebody wanted to fix the car at 35,000 Naira. And this guy said, no, you won't exploit this woman. She didn't plan to hit my car. That won my heart. He presented value, not in terms of a product, but in terms of character. So there are times when we don't even have any products. We just have ourselves. So what do you present? Do you get? So, there are things that are not even, they're not, what do you call them? They're not things you touch. Yeah? They're not things you touch, but you present them as value. You present them in your character. You present them in your morals. You present them in your behavior. So that's how I've been able to attract, and I continue to do this. It's not a one-off thing. It has become a lifestyle for me. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much, Ma.
Yes,
thank you so much. So the next person is Paul Great Adams and then Bola Benz. I think those are just the two questions that we're going to be taking because our time is fast spent. So Paul Great Adams, you can go right now.
All right. Good evening, ma'am. Thank you very much for this wonderful presentation. Hello?
Yes, you're welcome. Please go ahead.
We can hear you. You can go ahead.
My question is, when is an expansion an advantage or a reason to have more? And when is an expansion a distraction to a business?
Good question. Good question. When an expansion is not in line with your vision, it is a distraction. I love that question. I've been offered some opportunities that I know are not in line with my vision. They will distract me, not just in line with my vision, they're not in line with my values. I remember somebody came to me, and that was years ago. She said she got a contract to feed some people working on the site. And she said to me that if you want to put the figure, you put this figure, but this is how much I'm paying. I said, I'm not going to do that. It's not in line with my values. If you want to give me a business, if I want to say thank you to you, I will say thank you to you on my own, on my own grounds. You won't tell me what to write. It's not in line with my values. I dropped it like it's hot. Okay, so when the expansion is not in line with your values, and that's why you must have strong values. It's not every opportunity that comes that you run after. Invest 100 Naira to 1,000 Naira today, get 1 million Naira at the end of the month. Something is wrong. It doesn't make sense. What sort of investment is that? And then people have invested, they get the first month, they get the second month, and then before you know it, everything comes to a crash. Okay, so they're not in line with my values. So, but when they're in line with my values, they're in line with my vision, even if it looks like I have to take a very, very bold step, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. So so you must have those things that will help you, those KPIs that will help you know when to move. I hope I've answered your question.
I appreciate, ma'am.
Okay, so we'll probably just entertain 2 more questions only. I have Salami Abiola. Please go ahead with your question.
Okay, good evening. Good evening, ma. Thank you for this session. It has been very, very inspiring. Okay, so basically, I don't really have a question, but I think one of what you've taught us is what I want to put forward now. So I make yogurt, very rich in probiotics, and I've really been looking for outlets where we could be supplying, like people who sell healthy food, restaurants. So we're looking for how we could collaborate with people like you to bring our yogurt on board. So I really don't know how I can go about that.
It's like this, seizing the moment. So let me tell you one of the easiest ways to go about it. You have to, and it helped me at some point. It's continuing to help me. Like when we launched our moin wrap and all of that, we presented free samples. I'm not saying you should bring free samples to me. We just sent to some celebrities who we met along the way. I didn't tell them, put it up. I have relationships with people like T.Y. Bello, Kemi Adetiba, and all of that. I just sent to them. And of course, you know what? They put it on their status. And of course, attracted people to us again. So, be deliberate about your investments. It's also you're investing. Don't think that you're just throwing money away. You're investing into the growth of your business. So look for people. It could even be you just looking for a school. It happened. We just feed, on a particular day, we just feed some schools. Or we just decide, okay, this LASMA guys are here. Let's just feed them. And, they just move on and then they remember. So an opportunity comes, they're looking for a caterer, they come running to us. They're looking for a caterer, they're looking for a supplier. So just look for such opportunities where you can sow into the lives of people, or just sow into the lives of people, and you'll be amazed at at how, things will turn around. I have a relationship with Apostle Alakija. She celebrated her 70th birthday. What do I give to such a woman? She's been a blessing to me. What do I give? She doesn't need my money. So I called her. I said, Mama, please, I want to give all your guests. She invited me for a dinner. I said, I want to give all your guests our new products. I said, oh, Ayo, thank you. God bless you. I gave all her guests. Guess what? I've had calls have continued to come in. Please, can we have 100 wraps of this? Please, can we have this? Can we have that? Strategic investment. That's what we call it.
Okay, thank you so very much, Ma. Bola Benson, I'm going to call you. But before I do that, it's been a very wonderful evening. I'm sure we'll all agree. We have 97 people right here. We have some other people on Facebook. I know some people have also dropped off. This is probably the highest attendance we've had. Last month, I think we had like 92, 93 there about, but we're so blessed to have you here today now. So I've seen questions around whether we're going to make the recordings available. Yes, we will. But remember,
sorry, I can't hear you well, so I need to be able to hear what you're saying.
Okay. Okay, so I said it's been an awesome time. Can you hear me right now? Is it better? Is it better?
Yes.
Okay, so I said we're going to take one more question, which is from Bola Benson. And we appreciate you for doing this with us. I also want to respond to questions about whether we're going to make the recordings available. I remember one of the things you mentioned is the fact that and then we should be able to invest. So we'll make the recording available for everyone on this call, but for a token. And so what we're going to do is the recording for the past 4 editions. In June, I think we talked about how to write a compelling business plan. In July, we talked about cash flow. In August, we talked about managing human resources, and today we're talking about growing and scaling your business. So it will be available for a token, and the link to do that will be dropped here, and then we'll send a mail to everyone that's on this call. And when I say token, I mean a token. Everything we've done in MSM Africa has been free since last year. So this is just for a token. All right, so I thought to make that announcement. And the next question is from Bola Benson. Let's have your question, please. Bola Benson.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam, for the wonderful presentation. My question is straightforward. During the course of your presentation, you mentioned something that whatever equipment we are using for our business, we should try as much as possible for them to be movable. Are you with me, Ma?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Movable equipment. Yeah, movable equipment. So my question now is, I have rented an apartment for a business. In order to make the apartment look to be for my taste, to look more attractive for my business, I have done some fixtures and fittings in the apartment, which is not mine. And for example, I paid for 2 years. And at the expiration of the 2 years, the landlord, the owner of the apartment says, you can no longer use the place. What do I do? Or how do I go about such investment? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that question. Okay, to start with, I did not say we should make sure that whatever we invest into at the properties we rent or or lease is movable. I said it was a decision that I took when I was going to move into a particular location. Of course, there is no way you can fully have movable equipment. There are things you will have to do in your business premises to suit your taste or to suit the purpose for which you have rented those places. But what I'm just saying is that as much as possible, so much overboard to the point that when you now want to move, it now becomes a total loss. You're staying there for 2 years and fixing the place to suit your taste is not a waste, because those 2 years you have been able to accomplish what you set out to accomplish when you renovated that place. But what I'm just saying is that balance it by the decisions you make. For example, I don't know what example to give now, but let me look at myself. Okay, let me give you a perfect example. At some point, we were at a location where we had to take a decision of putting an extractor. Yes, fixing an extractor. So we now looked at all the different extractors that were being presented. So there was one that was really very good, but we will have to take up, it will have to be from the roof. It was really major. And I said to my people, I said, sorry to use Yoruba. I said, please, this property is not mine. I don't want to remove anybody's roof. Let us use the other extractors that will break the wall and fix. Okay, so same thing. We still had to adjust some things, but it wasn't removing the roof. The roof would have been major. Do you understand? So those are the kind of decisions, things you look at, so that you're not at the end of the day running at one. You know, you are still able to do what you have to do. So I'm just saying, balance things even as you use other people's premises, so that at the end of the day, you're not in regret and you're not like, oh, I just did this for this person. Even if you put tiles on the floor, you can't, because you're leaving, now remove the tiles. While you were there, the purpose for which you put those tiles on the floor was achieved. So it's a win-win.
Thank you so very much, Ma. And I think I don't think we have any more questions. And the things you've shared are things all of us need to go back and think about and reflect. And once again, I want to say thank you very much, Ma, for sharing from your heart. We're so grateful for this. We do not take it for granted. And so we don't want to keep you longer. It's Friday, and I also know some of us here, we also have one or two other things to do. So what I would say in closing, we have a community of entrepreneurs, and we would encourage us to join. If you want to be a part of it, the link will be shared where you can join the MSME community. And what is the benefit? You get to know about opportunities within the MSME space. We post daily opportunities for people in the community. You also get to know about things that are happening. So if you want to be a part of it, there's a link there for you to join. And like I said, if you want to access the recording, there's a link for you to do that. The recording for the past 4 months will be made available to you. And so I think this is the point where I say thank you so very much for everyone. Thank you so much, Mrs. Megbope. We are so grateful. Thank you for sharing. We don't take this for granted. Thank you to everyone who has taken a time out of their Friday night to be a part of this. And so see you next month. Thank you very much.
Thank you. An unanswered question, please.
Oh, okay. Let's. You have a question. What's the question, please? What's the question? What's the question, please? I can't see any question here. Okay, you might want to send a question to us, and then we'll probably send it to her if there's any need so that she will attend to it. I can't seem to find any question here.
Okay. I asked if to do with courage at any point in time, and how did you go about it? How did you go about it now? Did you have to deal with courage at any time? And how did you go about it? Did you have to deal with courage at any point in time, and how did you go about it?
Okay, I get your question. Did I have... Moving on regardless of fearful situations. So courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving on regardless of fear. Oh yes, every day sitting here is because I am courageous. Okay, so you can't go far. You cannot grow your business without courage, because without courage, that means you're waiting for everything to be in place. Everything cannot be in place. So you have to push beyond boundaries, regardless of the boundaries that are before you. You have to continue to move. Okay, so you have to be courageous. And I hear somebody saying, what is your motivation? My motivation is to be a better version of me, period. That's my motivation. My motivation is not anybody, because of anybody, it's because of me. I want to be the better version of myself. I want to be the best version of myself. I want to keep pushing the boundaries. I'm looking and I'm like, if 14 years no left of us has come this far, wow, where will we be 10 years from now? I'm like 7 years from now, man, I'm going to be 60. God, where am I going to be? And I'm looking forward with excitement. I'm not looking forward with fear and trembling. Yes, I'm looking at the giants. Yes, there are giants in the land, but you know what? I'm going. So, courage, motivation, yeah, just keep going. That's my goal. I want to get to the peak, keep pushing the boundary so that the people coming after me can know that it's possible. It is possible. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. It really looks like they don't want you to go. Maybe we should just have a video.
We have to go.
Okay, so I have just one question here again. The question is, my question is that what is the effect of age on starting business? I am above 50 now and with serious financial responsibility. I'm still passionate about my dream business while still working on my pastoring matter. So is over 50, is a pastor, so he's asking, is this still possible?
You have to repeat that, please. He's over 50. He's a pastor. Yeah.
With serious financial responsibility, but he's still passionate about his dream business while still pastoring. So what
is he passionate about
his dream business?
Okay, cool. Okay. See, when pastors, yeah, I congratulate you, sir. I celebrate you, and I thank God for your life. The fact that you're here alone is a plus for you, sir. It shows that you have the right spirit, because to be over 50 with financial challenges, with pastoring, because you see, as a pastor already, you're a leader. A lot of people are looking up to you, and it's a problem that a lot of leaders have. A lot of leaders have grown to a point where they are unteachable. But the fact that you are here, it's not even a pastor's conference and you are here. It shows that you are on the right path. One of the things that is needed when it looks as if one has entered the evening period of one's life, because that was how I felt when I started my business. Before I started, I was like, I'm going to be 40. God, I've entered the evening period. What have I achieved? One of the greatest things you need is humility. Humility, owning up to the fact that, look, this is fake, God. This is where I am. And saying, God, just help me, send help to me. And that's what you're doing by being here. So just stay in a place of humility. And the fact that you're a pastor makes it even easy. You have connection, you have divine connection with God. Nobody is obstructing you. So you are on the right path. Talk to your maker, son. And listen, he will send people. So your key assignment is to recognize the people he's sending to you to help you. But you must be real to your own weaknesses and to your own strengths. These are my weaknesses. I had to own up to my weaknesses. And then I had to look up at my strengths and say, now I am strong in this. How can I be stronger? So don't, as much as you have owned up to your weaknesses, don't focus on them. Don't focus on your weaknesses. It's good to recognize that these are my weaknesses. Now look at your strength and say, So one of the things I discovered about myself, even though with all my years of timidity, insecurity, and all of that, I realized that I'm a good communicator. And I'm like, yay. So I'm going to build on this. And so I began to be more serious with communicating and with learning how to communicate. And I began to be more deliberate. I said, I'm not going to be talking nonsense again. I'm not going to be talking to anybody. I'm going to begin to communicate with people that will help me grow. Okay? So check your strengths. Build on your strength. Build on all your strengths and acknowledge it. When you have done well, acknowledge it. Because it's important, and that's why it is important that you, as much as possible, if it's possible, document it. And it is in so doing that you begin to see opportunities gravitate towards you. And you also will be moving along. And then you have a sense of fulfillment. You see, that sense of fulfillment is very important. You're not comparing yourself with anybody. You're fulfilled in yourself. You're content, and then you're looking at the things around you, and you're watching, you're raising them. They're all growing together. You're deliberate in making sure that there's all-rounded growth. You're not angry with anybody. You're not putting the blame on anybody. For wherever you are, you're not even putting the blame on yourself, but you're taking responsibility that from here, I'm going to the next level. I hope I've helped.
Okay, thank you so very much, Ma. We have to let you go. But there is a recurrent question everybody is asking. How can we connect with you, Ma?
How can we
connect with you? That's what everybody says.
Instagram at Megbope Ayo. Instagram. That's where I live.
Yeah, I can attest to that. I see you a lot of
Mr. Shaya, I'm coming after you.
I'm coming after you. Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you very much, everyone who has been a part of this. It's so hard to say good night, but we have to say it. So, see you next month, everyone. And then for those who have decided to join the community, we'll see you in the community right away. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your Friday.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ma. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Bye.
God bless you, Ma. Good night.
Thank you very much, Ma. God bless. Thank you, Ma. God bless, Ma.